The Abbasid Caliphate has fallen. The once mighty Islamic empire, stretching from India to Spain, now lies fragmented. Spain is lost beyond Abbasid reach, Egypt is under the rule of the Fatimid dynasty, and the northern frontiers are controlled by the Seljuks. Even parts of the Levant and the Holy Land have fallen to the Christian Crusaders. The dream of uniting all Muslims under a single banner has faded into history. Yet this era continues to captivate us, marking one of the most pivotal chapters in history. The events of these times have left an indelible mark, shaping our notions of chivalry and glory. This period inspires films, books, comics, and games. From children to adults, people are enthralled by these tales of valor and conquest. Even after nearly 8 centuries, the legends of this era continue to influence the geopolitics of the Middle East. At the heart of these enduring stories stands one man whose actions reverberate through time. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, often hailed as Saladin, was a man of dreams and determination, a sultan who aspired to unite the Islamic world, restore the glory of the Caliphate, and liberate Jerusalem from the grip of the Crusaders. Yet, his path to greatness was unlike that of legendary conquerors. It was not marked by unbroken triumphs, but by a series of trials, errors, and persistent resilience. Salahuddin's journey was characterized by audacity, duty, and intellect, but it was also fraught with setbacks, betrayals, and moments of disillusionment. What set Salahuddin apart as a beloved figure in history is that he was not a mythical hero with supernatural powers. Instead, he was a mortal, flesh and blood. He became a hero not because he was chosen, but because he chose himself to be one. Join us on a journey through the life and legacy of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, a man whose unwavering determination and humanity continue to inspire generations. In 638 CE, under the command of Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, Muslim forces conquered Jerusalem, and it remained under Muslim control until the Crusaders recaptured it in 1099 CE. In that era, Jerusalem found itself in the grip of Crusader occupation, fortified by unwavering support from the Pope and Europe. Meanwhile, the once mighty Seljuk Empire had crumbled, giving rise to a plethora of smaller Islamic states in Anatolia and Mesopotamia, all entangled in ceaseless conflicts. Amidst this tumultuous landscape, the aspiration of reclaiming Jerusalem in Egypt felt like an elusive dream, one that many regarded as unattainable. As the Seljuk Empire weakened and fragmented, the Zengid dynasty emerged as a significant regional power in northern Syria and Mesopotamia. Leaders like Imad ad-Din Zengi and later his son Nur ad-Din seized opportunities created by the vacuum left by the Seljuks' collapse and skillfully established their own authority, ultimately setting the stage for a renewed Muslim resistance against the Crusaders in the 12th century. In 1149, a 10-year-old boy named Yusuf ibn Ayyub played in his home's courtyard. Suddenly, the call of the muezzin rang out from the mosque's minaret. The Zengid Sultan, Nur ad-Din Zengi, had triumphed over the Crusaders in Edessa, reclaiming it for the Islamic Zengid dynasty. Jubilant citizens filled the streets in celebration. Everyone praised Nur ad-Din's bravery. Young Yusuf joined the jubilant crowd, an experience that would forever shape his ambitions. He dreamed of fighting the Crusaders and restoring the lost glory of the Muslims, setting the path for his future as the renowned Salahuddin. At 15, Salahuddin moved with his family to Damascus, the capital of the Zengid dynasty and seat of Nur ad-Din. There, he enrolled in a madrasa, similar to a modern high school, where he studied subjects ranging from geometry and algebra to geography and the Quran. Simultaneously, his uncle Asaduddin Shirkuh took him under his wing. Shirkuh, a general under Nur ad-Din, was a formidable warrior who had lost an eye in battle, making him a striking figure with his eye patch. Under Shirkuh's mentorship, Salahuddin learned military tactics and swordsmanship. Upon completing his training, Salahuddin joined Shirkuh's battalion, entering the Zengid army. He was now ready to serve his childhood hero, Nur ad-Din. Meanwhile, in Egypt, a power struggle raged between two viziers of the Fatimid Caliphate. The Fatimids, a Shia dynasty, were rivals to the Sunni Abbasids. The conflict between these two major Islamic denominations was a long-standing one. In Egypt, viziers Shawwan and Durgam vied for power. Driven out by Durgam, Shawwan sought Nur ad-Din's help. In 1163, Nur ad-Din dispatched an army under Shirkuh's command to Egypt, with Salahuddin among the ranks. Although Salahuddin played a minor role initially, these events would provide his first real lessons in military strategy and politics. With Shirkuh's military skill, Shawwan was reinstated as the Grand Vizier of Egypt. Shirkuh garrisoned his forces near Cairo to support Shahwan's rule. However, the presence of a Sunni army in Shia territory soon caused political friction within the Fatimid court. Under pressure, Shahwan sought new allies. He secretly allied with Amalrik, the Crusader king of Jerusalem, to attack the Zingid army. Stationed in Bilbis, Shirkuh's forces faced attacks from Amalrik to the northeast and Shahwan to the southwest. This betrayal left the Zingid army in a dire situation, unable to retreat to Syria or fall back to Cairo. Shirkuh sent an urgent plea for aid to Nur ad-Din. Enraged by the betrayal, Nur ad-Din faced a dilemma. He couldn't send reinforcements in time, so he devised a plan to divert Amalrik. By attacking the Crusader state of Tripoli, an ally of Amalrik, he forced Amalrik to withdraw some troops from Egypt to defend Tripoli. This strategic move allowed Shirkuh to retreat to Syria, saving his army. Although the Zingid army was safe, the betrayal by Shahwan could not be forgotten. Nur ad-Din and Shirkuh waited for the right moment to exact their revenge. That moment came in 1168 when Amalrik broke his alliance with Egypt and attacked Cairo, eyeing its wealth and strategic value. With Shahwan's rule weakened, the Fatimid Caliph, Al-Adid, implored Nur ad-Din for help. Seizing the opportunity, Nur ad-Din sent Shirkuh and his forces into Egypt. Salahuddin, now a commander of a battalion, joined the expedition. The Zingids faced the Crusaders at Al-Babayn, west of Giza, strategically choosing the location for its advantages. Salahuddin commanded the right wing of the army, while Shirkuh held the center. The stage was set for a decisive encounter that would shape the future of the region. The Crusader army, though larger and better armed than the Zingids, faced a formidable challenge. Shirkuh and Salahuddin devised a cunning strategy to neutralize the Crusaders' advantages. Salahuddin would disguise himself as the central commander, creating the illusion that his soldiers were the main force. Meanwhile, Shirkuh concealed a portion of his troops behind the desert dunes. Unaware of the ruse, the Crusaders launched a full-scale attack on the perceived central force of the Zingids. This was the moment Salahuddin had meticulously prepared for throughout his military career. Unable to overpower the enemy with brute force, he resorted to tactical ingenuity. Salahuddin orchestrated a feigned retreat, leading his forces into the desert. The Crusaders pursued, falling into his trap. Their heavy cavalry struggled in the steep, sandy terrain, losing their mobility advantage. Conversely, the lighter Zingid cavalry maneuvered swiftly, disrupting the Crusaders' formation. The battle fragmented into smaller skirmishes instead of a concentrated assault. Shirkuh seized the opportunity, leading his reserve forces in a surprise offensive. Simultaneously, Salahuddin turned his troops back, launching a counterattack. The Crusaders, caught between two fronts, were decisively defeated. This victory marked the emergence of Salahuddin's military genius and his transition from observer to active participant in the conflict against the Crusaders. As we continue, we will delve into the early stages of Salahuddin's career, exploring his rise to Grand Vizier, his defense of Egypt, and his ascent to Sultan. In the bustling streets of Cairo, people gathered to celebrate the Muslim victory over the Crusaders. The triumphant Zingid army marched towards the Fatimid Caliph's palace, greeted by joyous crowds showering them with flowers. Leading the procession was General Shirkuh, with a proud and dignified Salahuddin by his side, unaware of the challenges awaiting him. Upon reaching the Fatimid court, Caliph Al-Adid welcomed them with great generosity, offering Shirkuh the position of Grand Vizier. Shirkuh accepted without hesitation, mindful of past betrayals. His first act was to arrest and execute Shawah, a stark warning to any who might ally with the Crusaders. Shirkuh, known for his love of lavish feasts, soon fell ill after one such meal. His sudden death, just 2 months into his tenure as vizier, left Salahuddin bereft of his uncle and mentor. With Shirkuh gone, a power struggle ensued among the emirs and military factions, each vying for control. Nur ad-Din's letter recommending Salahuddin as Shirkuh's successor arrived just in time. Both Fatimid and Zingid factions saw advantages in his youth and battlefield prowess, respectively. Thus, at 30, Salahuddin became the Grand Vizier of the Fatimid Caliphate in early 1169. Salahuddin, now in a position of unprecedented power, faced the dilemma of divided loyalties between the Shia Fatimid Caliphate and the Sunni Zingid dynasty. His goal was clear: to unite the people and liberate the Holy Lands from the Crusaders. However, internal political conflicts soon demanded his attention. Determined to rebuild Egypt, Salahuddin invested in infrastructure, defense, and educational institutions. Yet, betrayal lurked within his ranks. Ali bin Sufyan, his chief bodyguard, brought news of a conspiracy against him. Salahuddin acted swiftly, arresting and executing the main conspirator, but the rebellion was far from over. A civil war erupted, led by Fatimid emirs with 50,000 soldiers. For 6 months, Salahuddin fought to quell the uprising, showing no mercy to the rebel leaders. His decisive action cemented his authority, ensuring no future insurrections. With the internal conflict resolved, Salahuddin focused on governance, appointing trusted allies and capable individuals to key positions. His strong leadership stabilized the Fatimid court, allowing him to resume nation building. However, by late 1169, a new threat loomed. The Crusader states and the Byzantine Empire launched a massive naval invasion. Expecting a land attack through the Sinai Peninsula, Salahuddin's forces were positioned too far south to defend Damietta. He quickly ordered the city's defenses to be strengthened and blocked the Nile's branch with an iron chain, buying time for reinforcements to arrive. The Crusader fleet found its path into the harbor obstructed, halting their intended assault from the sea. Realizing this, they initiated a blockade, a move foreseen by Salah ad-Din. This strategy allowed him to effortlessly send supplies and reinforcements to the city via the Nile, avoiding direct confrontation with the enemy. The Crusaders soon realized their conquest would not be as straightforward as anticipated. Switching to traditional siege tactics, the Crusaders deployed various siege weapons like catapults, siege towers, and ballistae. Despite these efforts, the defenders of Damietta successfully repelled each wave of attacks. Their continued resistance was bolstered by steady supplies of food, arms, and reinforcements. Occasionally, the defenders even launched counterattacks to pressure the Crusader front lines. In one notable instance, they sent a fire ship down the river, targeting the Byzantine fleet. The ship detonated upon reaching its target, destroying 6 warships and severely damaging several others. The defenders also conducted sorties outside the city walls, attacking the siege lines and destroying siege engines. After several weeks, the Crusaders began to face shortages of food and supplies. Their initial plan for a swift and surprise attack had utterly failed. Prolonging the invasion meant risking massive casualties and depleting their treasury, making the prospect of plundering Egypt unattainable. Thus, after nearly 2 months of siege, the Crusaders withdrew from Damietta. Although the battles were not as intense as other Crusader campaigns, the failure to capture a single Egyptian port city dealt a severe blow to their morale. This victory showcased Salah ad-Din's exceptional leadership. Egypt would remain secure from external threats for another 5 years. With resources and support secured, Salah ad-Din could continue his strategic plans. 2 years after the Crusaders' retreat from Damietta, Egypt enjoyed a period of peace. Salah ad-Din used this time to strengthen the country. The economy flourished, the army expanded, and major city defenses were rebuilt. Salah ad-Din even launched offensives against the Crusaders in border regions. Everything was progressing smoothly until the Fatimid Caliph in Cairo fell gravely ill without a designated successor, leaving Egypt's future uncertain. After 2 centuries of Fatimid rule, major changes loomed. Salah ad-Din had to act quickly to prevent a power vacuum and preserve his accomplishments. Additionally, he faced pressure from Nur ad-Din and the Caliph in Baghdad to establish Sunni dominance in Egypt. This was Salah ad-Din's opportunity to establish his own dynasty, marking the beginning of the Ayyubid dynasty. Although he had always harbored grand plans, he now possessed the autonomy and power to realize them fully. Egypt was now under Salah ad-Din's control, granting him unprecedented authority.